Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I'm going to be showing you a technique of how to use your acrylic blocks as an ink, well, a stamp really, but it's to create a background for this card here. So I shall zoom you in a little bit so you can just see it a bit closer. And this I've cased, not entirely, but casing, if you don't know, just means copy and paste everything. And when I was going through the catalogue, the new catalogue, the lovely thing is it's packed full of creative ideas. And in doing so, it helps you to have ideas spring off. So this is my version of a very similar card. They've used a different technique entirely for the background, but this is what I'm using here. So to go through your supplies, you are going to need the Happy Happenings. Let's zoom you out so you don't just see bits and bobs. So you need the Happy Happenings stamp set. We're using the small Happy Birthday. You will need some baker's twine. I'm using Bermuda Bay here. You then need some ink pads. So I've gone for So Saffron, Pool Party and Blushing Bride, which are all from the Subtles collection. Then you will need your acrylic block, very important. You will need a stamping spritzer, which just gives a nice mist. And there's a reason for that I will go into. And then you need some Designer Series papers. I've just taken scraps of paper from the Affectionately Yours Designer Series paper stack, which you can't purchase until the 1st of June, but you know, it's nice to titillate you with what you can't have and make you look forward to when you can have it. And these, apart from the foiled one, are double-sided, but we're going to be using the sides you can see here. So I've just cut off some little odd bits. You then want a piece of basic black cardstock, which is going to form the banner, and that is 10.5 by 1.5 centimeters. There's a piece of white vellum, and that measures 14 by 3 centimeters. All of these details will be on my blog, so don't worry, you can just hop over to the blog and get everything. Then this is a piece of watercolour paper, and this measures 14 by 9.7 centimeters. That's obviously going to be the main one we're using. And then the card base was made using a piece of Blushing Bride's cardstock. So that was 21 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters. And then you just need to fold that in half. Score it first at 10.5 centimeters, bring it down, and then just use your bone folder just to get a nice crisp fold. So that's your card base done. Now we're going to be doing the most incy-wincy little bit of heat embossing for this card. So for that you're going to need a craft mat, silicone craft mat, an embossing buddy, some Versamark ink and some white embossing powder. And apart from some basic rhinestones, that's it. So it is a bit of a list, but you will find most of it you already have, because a lot of it is just supplies that tend to be hanging around most people's workshops. So right, so the first thing that you want to do is take that piece of watercolour paper, and you've got two sides. You've got one side that's got slightly more texture than the other. It really doesn't matter which you go for. Now, to just help the inks dissipate once they're on onto the background, I'm just going to give this a little spritz. You will want to protect your work surface, so do put down, I use my Stampin grid paper packs, and that protects my work surface, but you just want to make sure it is protected. The next job is we're going to be doing 2 stampings with this, and what we're going to do is get your Blushing Bride ink pad and go up about 1/3 of the way, putting down some ink. We're going to come back to these colours. Then you want the Pool Party, and you'll just stuck my finger in the ink pad, and you're just gonna, you don't have to get right up close, so stamp down. Now I don't want all of that colour, I want to have a little bit of yellow, so this bottom bit here I'm just going to wipe off, and that's our front door. It's very loud because we're small holding, as I've said before, and we need to be able to hear people. And then this is So Saffron, and I'm just putting this down on that very last little bit, and then you're going to get that Stampin' Mist again and just spritz, not from 2, you want it fairly close, but not so close it's going to just splatter the ink everywhere. You then bring in your piece of very slightly damp cardstock, or paper I should say, bring down your ink pad, pop it down, press, and you just want to give it a moment for the inks to just sink in. And there's your first part, and then we're just going to repeat that just partly because I want more yellow down the bottom here, just me, just be like that. So I'm just going to go along one edge and spritz that again. And then just pop that down there. And you just do the same again. Just let that ink soak in. And you can see here where the different colours have mixed. We've ended up with an orange, a green, as well as the blue and the pink. And I'm just going to speed this up, I'm just going to use my heat tool just to dry this off. Have a hair on there. And it just creates a beautiful, unique background. That's pretty much it. So you can see as it dries out, it flattens back out, so you don't have to worry about that side of things. I'm just going to pop this here, and we'll do the other bit of embossing before we come back. And I'm just going to remove this because it's wet. Pop that to the bin that is over there, and then we'll do the bit of embossing from here. So we just want that little piece of black cardstock, and you want your Versamark ink pad, and I've just picked the smallest Happy Birthday stamp, and you can see my Versamark is really old, I just keep re-inking it, and it keeps going. Okay. And before I stamp down, get your embossing buddy and just wipe over the surface, and that helps to get rid of any static that is on that cardstock. Stamp down roughly in the middle. Bring in your embossing powder. I keep mine in takeout boxes, and I find it works for me, mostly for the for white and clear. There you go, you see there's no extra bits, and that's where the embossing buddy comes in. Pop that away, get my craft mat out, and then heat tool again. This will have already heated up a little bit because I've been drying out the paper. Just hold on to your piece of cardstock and just move along. You don't have to do lots of big waggles. There you go. That's done. See? Lovely, quick and simple. That's all the embossing done. Okay, so next I want some little banner ends put on here. So I need my paper snips, which as always is so elusive because everything else in my tool jar just fades away. So just go from, snip in about 1 centimetre, go from corner to centre, repeat the other side, corner to centre, turn it round and repeat. And there you will have two nicely matched little banner ends. Right, so this should be nice and dry now, which it is, and I'm actually going to use it this way up. First thing is to pop this piece of vellum down here, and it just helps to give a tonal difference, and looks really quite nice. So bit of fast fuse run down each side. And just pop that straight across the middle. You'll see how it just diffuses that colour a little bit. On top of that is going to go your banner, which we're going to pop up on Stampin' Dimensionals. So she, I obviously had too good a tidy up last night. This is my box of adhesives and things. There we are, see, told you. I was too busy tidying up. Right, so I'm going to put 3 because this is a fairly long and narrow banner, and I did try it with just 2, which is my usual, but it just bowed a little bit in the middle, so I thought this would work better. So this just goes down along the centre here. And we can now mat that down onto the card base, which is here. And I'm doing it as a temp fold. And I'm just going to use fast fuse to pop this down. It's a lovely, they call it paper, it's more cardstock really. It's really thick and it's really robust. And it stands up really well on projects. Looks fab as a tag. Right. There we go with that. Then we want to do our little butterflies, and I don't know if I mentioned you need the elegant butterfly punch. I'm going to go with one of each of these papers. So that's that foiled one, which is just divine and I love. Then we're using, you've seen me use this side before, I'm using this mint macaron side today. And our last one is going to be this pink here, and this pink coordinates really nice with the Blushing Bride, and the three colours work together really well. So that's our butterflies, and you could keep these and use these as a mask and do some sponging through them. Right. Next is popping our butterflies on, so you want some glue dots. For that is the easiest thing. And you can decide where your butterflies go. I'm going to pop mine, and I just curl the wings up a little bit. Pop this fairly centrally in there. One down here, and this one I think I'm going to pop just here. Some Stampin' dimensionals on two of them. You just want a paper piercing tool just to take these off. You just want to go with the small ones. 1, 2, 3. Always work in odd numbers, they're much more pleasing to the eye. So 1, 3, 5. Well, I don't need that one, do I? Because we've got the foil on there. Right, last bit. Some baker's twine. And just do 2 loopy ears, tie them round, bring them through, and you can lengthen and shorten your tails then. Because the butterfly is quite small, you don't want... Oh, and I've pulled it through. I knew I would. Silly me, as usual. Right, I'm going to cut a piece off because this is now frustrating me. Right, 2 little loops, equal in size, as close as. Pop it through. And then you just need to be careful how you pull on those tails. So get your 2 loops, pull, and then pull your tails. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. You just keep pulling your tails, pull the middle bit, the bow, and just get it down to scale. Nothing worse than a big bow on a delicate item. And I'm going to trim those off once I have put it down. Now I'm going to use a glue dot for this one. And it's easy when using something like baker's twine for the glue to just end up sticking to everything. So adhere it to your little bow where the knot is. And then what I do is I fold the glue dot in on itself, so you end up with an extra thick glue dot, but once it's put down it doesn't stick to everything else. It makes it much nicer. I know I've made a few cards at times and it just looks weird because it's ended up being stuck to other things. And there you have it. So that is today's card. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to see your version of this technique. You can use it for so many things. And I love imaginative ways of creating backgrounds, not just with stamps but with different techniques. So that's it, and I will speak to you again tomorrow. Obviously, if you follow me regularly, you know that all of my social media information is in the show more section under today's video. And there's two ways to link to my blog. The first way is to click on the link when I publish the video, and I think it's underneath, could be on the top, but there's a link on the above or below the video. If you click on that link, it will take you straight through to today's project. The other way is if you're doing it on your mobile, for example, and it just goes straight to video, then just click on the little eye icon in the top right, and what you will find is a little card comes up. Click on the card, and again that will take you straight through to today's video. Follow my community Pinterest board. All of that information is in the show more section, as well as is the ordering information. And any questions, come through to me. I really don't feel people bother me at all, so you know, just give me a shout, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks very much for watching. Ta-ta for now.